welcome again to EA Sports WRC. I will be switching to other games, but not anytime soon. Oh man, and we got not EA, sorry, FIA, Rally Monte Carlo going on this weekend, so I'm going to try to get this out before the final stages are run. I don't know what kind of bump the algorithm will give me for all that, but yeah, I hope everybody's good this new year, and I'm going to try not to let this particular video go on too long, but let's do a quick update to the chassis real quick. I'm not going to do any toe angle adjustments. I never do. All suspension adjustments in this game, I feel like, make a relatively big difference. Compared to WRC Generations or WRC 10, you definitely feel a lot more of the car changing with anything you do to it. Okay, that's right. 1, 2. 1, 2. I don't want to go that far. It's a pretty heavy car in the front, relatively speaking, to its back side, which is big, but it's a hatchback. Nothing really back there. Personally, I always like to keep my actual brakes a little bit less strong than, a little bit more strong than my handbrake. So, at least in the numbers that are represented there. This is different. There's a center viscous differential. Yeah, I think I'm gonna, for now, leave that alone. Do everything else that I normally do. And later on, when I start using this car more, or working with it more, I'll adjust this. But for right now, we're on a gravel track in Greece. So I do want relatively a lot of driving lock, front and rear, but not as much as they have on their stock. That's a lot. That's too much for me. And notice how the front LSD braking lock is at 20%. The rear LSD braking lock I was just on is at 30%. That's kind of a strange dynamic that I haven't seen in most of the other cars, which are set up kind of 50-50 in that way. So if it's going to be 30% in the front, it's going to be 30% in the rear. But in the differential area, small changes are huge, especially when it comes to balance. So if you haven't already kind of trained yourself to driving with less, let's say, front and rear LSD driving lock like I have, then just, get some practice. Get some practice. Run the car at whatever setup you want, but just put in some laps and you should be good. You'll eventually get good. So in this situation, I like less braking lock than driving lock. It's more, it changes the car more when you have even 2 or 3 percentage points more of braking lock on either side. So you might as well just like kind of, at least for me, tone it down a lot more, essentially. I hope that makes sense. And I'm gonna have less driving lock. Nah. That's a big jump, 25 to 30. I mean, goodness gracious, guys. 22 to 26, 26 to 31. Yeah, I'm going to leave this down at 26. Rear, I'm going to put down at 25. Yeah, okay. So in terms of numbers, it's less scary than that big old jump of a click that it was. Alright, so rear LSD preload. Preload for me is always super low. But like I said, this is a car that I don't know that very well. I don't know it very well. So I'm going to leave more preload than I usually do, and then I'll tune it down as I go. It does help in terms of keeping you out of the trees, and we'll see if I stay out of the trees. That's a change that I've been doing in a lot of cars. I just thought about it, like, do I need to do this in this car? It's not high powered enough that it's really going to spin its wheels off the front, off the line, and I kind of would like to experiment with what the gears are like. What it's stock, essentially, you know, before doing a whole lot of changes to either the differentials or the gears. Just hold off, you know, just run the car the way it is, and then later on tweak things just a little bit one way, a little bit the other way. Remember which of the pots you're changing, you know, or which of the parameters you're changing, and just change it a little bit, change it, you know, back, and then play with it, and you'll get better. Front right height, gravel, so I need it higher, but not that high. And it is a Subaru, but it's this Subaru, this Subaru was never used, as far as I know, on the WRC circuit. This was an American rally championship car used on this side of the pond, but not in international competition, and so this is kind of weird. Essentially, it has run over there. Of course, people have bought this car in all of its variations every year and shipped it all over the world, adapted it to whatever rules they needed to, and moved on from there. So let's see, front spring rate doesn't need to be very high. I can leave that where it is, actually. Front roll bar, in this situation, I want it less than it is because we're on gravel. But this is one of the things that I think anti-roll bar is one of the things you can get wrong when it comes to the springs. If you set it too soft, you're definitely going to be in a toss and turf kind of, you know, situation when you roll over bumps or through undulations. Spring rate, anti-roll bar, right height, rear right height needs to be higher. Yeah, we'll leave it at 8 for now, and we'll hope for the best. Damping, I want to keep it soft, but I do want it to rebound well. It's gravel, which I've noticed, like, you don't have to make it as aggressive as I was tuning it in maybe previous videos. If you have watched those, I was tuning my slow bump and fast bump probably a little too high. And I still really don't like the way the bump division works, so I don't use it, if anybody's asking, which nobody is. Alright, moving on. Let's see. So I'm going to save that. Empty slot. What should I call it, guys? I'm going to call it, this is a gravel for a Subaru, so I'm going to call it, I was going to call it Wish You Were Here, but that's just too long. I think this is funny. It's funny to me. Alright, dang. Wrong button. Alright, so that's done. And 10 minutes in, yikes. We'll see if we can get up and down this track. If it's too long, Yeah, it's really long. There's a chance that we may not get through the whole thing and the video may end halfway. I may have to stitch this together. Looks like a KineMaster subscription is coming. I gotta find my remote real quick. Oh, it's in my lap because we need some volume. And the comfort equipment has to be turned off because it's affecting the audio quality. Resume.
Don't cut, and 3 left, keep it 60, slight right, and 3 left, it's a 1 right short, 120.
I can definitely notice a change in the transmission speed compared to the Rally 1 car, the current Rally 1 cars.
3 left, keep it, and 5 right, 40, 2 right, and C. Late 3 left, tightens. And 4 right, keep it, 30. Early, 3 right, crest, 40. 3 left, 40. 6 left, 6 right to the crest, long. 40, 4 right, and C, 60. 3 left, keep it, 30. Right sharp, keep it to slight left, 70. 4 left short, don't cut. And 5 right, tightens 3, 30. 4 left short, 50. Make 6 left.
Certainly sounds good.
Don't cut. And slight right, 100, slowly. Slight right, 30. 4 left short, 50.
Rasping is characteristic of a flat boxer.
40. Square left, half long, 30.
I don't know. I used to think that, or well, I was told when I was younger, that's because of the tappets that they use, the way that the camshafts open the valves, right? It's louder, essentially.
60, hairpin left. And slight right, 100. Slow, 6 left short, 40. Late, hairpin right. 40, slight right, 50. Slowly. 6 left short, 40. Hairpin left, tightens. And 5 right, 60.
Lucky to get away with that without a puncture.
6 left, keep it, 40. 6 left, slowly, 60.
Which is an interesting thing to think about, that these cars in the video game are using the old Pirelli tire model,
Don't cut.
and the current series has switched over to hand cut, which is a huge surprise to me.
Cuts. To square right short, into 6 left, 40.
One of the announcers today,
6 right to the crest, 50.
well actually not an announcer, one of the guys from Dirtfish was saying that, oh well, you know, they've got a new tire, it's different for everybody to process what they have to do with it, whether it's the engineers or the drivers. But now we don't have to worry about punctures. Or at least he alluded to something like that, and I'm just like, I don't remember there being that many punctures. Don't get me wrong, you know, I'm not an elitist. I'm glad Hankook is around.
50, 4 left short, into 6 right.
But it's just a surprise that they got rid of Pirelli. It was literally, I had no idea that was happening.
40, 4 left, tightens 2, 30. Square right, half long. 30, open hairpin left, square right. And 6 right, and 4 left, 50. 2 right, opens, 100. tightens 1, keep in. And 5 right, 40.
I assume this is heavier than a WRC2 car.
Slowing, 70.
It seems easier to get in and out of turns
Left, half
than those cars. And I would also assume this has a more sophisticated all-wheel drive system than any of the even current WRC2 cars. Maybe with the exception of the new, relatively new WRC2 Yaris.
Left, 40. 3 left short, 80.
One of the problems I do have with this game is that the environments are too similar between a few of the countries. WRC2 Generations did a great job of making you feel like you're in Estonia versus Kenya versus Japan. And in sections of this game, that's true. In Japan, you really do feel like, okay, yeah, this is Japan. And keep in mind, I've been to a lot of these places, so I do know what they look like, but obviously I don't know their ins and outs and the culture, and as well as some. And okay, third gear will power you through there. But yeah, this looks too much like Italy. Oh, you can still see my cloud down there, though. That's dope. I like that. However, I will say this. In terms of, like, if you think about actual topography, Greece and Italy are going to be much more similar than, let's say, some games would put it out there, right? Like, technically, they're going to have mostly the same trees and stuff. They're within a few thousand miles of each other.
3 left short, to slide right, 50. Late, 1 left, tightens, and hairpin right, opens. 30, 4 left, long.
Yeah, I think they went with a more realistic approach. I'm not going to take back what I said, but I just started thinking about it, like, in terms of things, like, this is actually much more like what Greece is. It's an island, right? But technically speaking, in terms of its topography, it's a piece of Europe, a piece of Southern Europe that broke off. And so the dirt there definitely has all the genetics of, at least plant-wise for sure, they have many of the genetics of Spain and Italy. Along with a ton of unique topography and stuff that has adapted to the fact that it is, bordered on all sides by ocean.
50, 5 left, keep in, to slide right, 40. 3 left, long tightens. Into square right, 60. Slide right, 50. 6 left, slowing, 50, 2 left, keep in, up, 3 right, tightens, 70. 2 left, tightens 1, to slide right, 50, slide left and crest, 30. Brake, 6 right, 6 left, to slide right. 2 left short, 30. 2 right, long, 30. 4 right short. Into 5 left, half long. And 4 right. To square left short.
That's the thing about this game. All of the cars that were included are really good. All stars for the years that they were released.
And crest. To slide left, 110. Slowing, 5 right short, to 1 left, tightens,
basically miss my braking point there.
Finish to stop. Okay.
Kudos to Motorola on that. I cannot believe, well, I can believe, but it's interesting that the camera didn't overheat and we got through the whole entire stage there. All right, just one of the things that I'm going to be releasing very soon. Kudos to everyone watching, and stay safe out there, everybody. God bless. Allahu Akbar. Wallahi alhamd.